21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
First, we're going to talk about what can happen if you don't register your brand, your trademark in legal terms. So imagine that you run a business. Let's say you sell on Amazon, or maybe you have your own website and you sell products. You have a cool name and you develop your business and you think that everything is going well until one day you get a cease and desist letter from an owner of a registered trademark that's really close to you, and they tell you to stop using their name and rebrand, or they say that they will sue you. So that's what may happen if you don't register your trademark. Many people make this mistake of saying, oh, I'll do it later. I'll see how the business is going. I don't have money for that now. I'll take a year to develop my business and then I'll register the trademark. Another situation is that while you're waiting to file your trademark and while you're making sales and develop your business, somebody else may file for your trademark or like for a similar one, and then they will prevent you from registering your own trademark. Or your own trademark will be refused because it will be the second one to be filed. So that will be very expensive for you and costly to stop this first trademark, because you will have to file a trademark opposition. So that will be much more expensive than the initial investment in the trademark. So many people delay or they procrastinate. They know it's on their list of things to do, but it's not in the top 3 things to do, I guess, or top 5. They procrastinate, they delay, and then they learn that, oh, now I can't do this, or in the US I cannot do this. What do I do? Do I rebrand? Do I create a separate trademark for the US, or do I just continue? In the first case, when there is already an owner of a similar trademark, you're actually risking a lot. I mean, you can be sued for profits that you have earned, and all because you haven't trademarked your name, and you couldn't have trademarked it anyway because it probably wasn't available in the first place. So you should have checked if it's available. I mean, but that's another thing. So before you even file a trademark, it should be checked to see if it's registrable. Or before you even start using it. Let's say you came up with the name, you sell vitamins and you call them, I don't know, green zebra, green keto zebra, and you like the name and you think it's cool, but you don't realize that somebody already registered this name. So you just use it completely oblivious to the fact that it belongs to somebody else. So people don't really do enough research in the initial trademark search. And they don't spend funds in protecting the trademark if it's available. That's, I think, quite a big problem that people make, in just procrastinating, I think.
And when you say people don't research, can you help them in that process, in the research process? Because I don't know where to start from. So I if I can ask you, for example, it would be probably on an expert level and much easier, faster.
Yeah, we do free initial trademark search to see if the name is, available. But we always tell our clients to do the initial research first, to check the domain names, because that's extremely important, obviously, to check social media handles, because what's the point of owning a trademark if you can't have the Facebook name for that name, or the YouTube channel, or whatever a social media you use, because there may be some, like similar name for the Facebook, and you can have it. So that may make a big difference later. And research to make sure that you can get the domain name, because that's the first thing you should do. When you start researching the name, get the domain name, it's cheap. And it may be unavailable later. Like we've seen situations when the name is researched, the domain name, and then it's purchased by somebody else. And then you have to pay a high price for the same domain name. And I would always I would also buy the domain name for misspellings. Like, for example, I bought trademarkangel.com and Trademark Angle. For some reason, people misspell angel into angle. And so, yeah, it's useful to get the domain name that sounds similar or that can be, mistyped. Or if your brand name is intentionally misspelled, so get the domain name for the right spelling as well. Again, it's really cheap, but it will, it will forward the traffic to your website. You can just redirect the website, the domain name, because otherwise you risk that, there may be somebody else, diverting the traffic to this similar domain name. I mean, those are all obvious things, but yeah, we've seen so many instances when people don't do this, and then they have to get some really weird domain name to work with their brand because they couldn't get the .com domain name. And
you have mentioned US market with offices in Canada and UK. How does Trademark Angel navigate the different trademark laws and regulations in each of jurisdiction?
Well, we have lawyers that we work with, like foreign associates for each jurisdiction. Like, for example, I'm a Canadian trademark agent, so for Canada, I mean, I file like trademarks myself, or like we can file. For example, for the UK, we work with a UK associate who does all the work, especially for all complex legal questions. I mean, they're handled by him. And the same with other countries. We file in many countries like China. We recently started filing in Japan, Brazil, and South Korea. Like we work primarily with Amazon sellers, so people who sell on Amazon. So we file in jurisdictions where Amazon has presence, like, for example, in Turkey, in many other countries, like where we see a lot of interest, like United Arab Emirates. But yeah, I would say primarily US, Canada, UK, European Union. So I think those four, Australia, maybe.
Is that something that differentiates you from other trademark registration agencies working with Amazon sellers? What's the differentiation factor?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we try to be like one place for all trademark registrations. A lot of our clients come to us because they don't want to work with different companies. So they want to work with one company. So we have some large portfolios for, different countries. Yeah, another thing that differentiates us is that we offer free trademark search and free consultation. So I don't really bill for that. And then we offer a refiling guarantee with some of our packages. So if the trademark is not registered, you don't lose the money you paid us. You can file another country, you can file a different trademark, you can basically reuse the money for another trademark. I think that's what makes us different.
And what about you, Anita? Any personality traits? I mean, you as an entrepreneur, any personality traits that you want to stress out?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important to be consistent. I think that's like part of my success, our success, is that I have been consistent in some things that I think are important. Like, for example, one of the areas, actually two, is like article writing. I don't like that. I hate that. But you have to write content for your website so that you obviously drives the traffic to your website. So yes, I force myself, and I think I've written all the articles that could be written about trademarks. It's not an extremely interesting topic, I must admit. it's not something that I can just write endlessly. I mean, there's just so many topics. And obviously doing podcasts is another thing that I can't say that I love them, but obviously you have to
This
put an
comfort
effort.
zone.
Yeah, because you're like on TV. I'm looking at myself now. I'm thinking, oh well, I should have, combed my hair better. But you have to
So
do
persistency.
this because, yeah, because if you're not persistent, slowly you will start going downhill. It's like you can't always stay like this. You just start going downhill because your competitors who are just beginning, they're like working endlessly, and you have to compete with the newcomers all the time. So you have to be consistent. I think that's important. I think actually it's the most important part of success is to be consistent. Just don't give up and just make it your routine. The important things that you think that should be done, I mean, you just have to continue doing them.
And the market, is it saturated?
Oh, I think there is enough money for everyone in this market because the population is growing. There are so many people who are starting their own business, like an e-commerce business, like working remotely, like digital nomads, people working from home, people selling on Amazon. I don't think it's saturated. I think it's actually the opposite. I think it's growing, and the demand for trademarks is growing. But obviously the number of professionals is also growing. But it's good. I mean, it's good.
What's your business model now?
Yeah. So actually the business it will be 6 years old in May. And I obviously started as a one-person business. Like now we have about 15 full-time people, and I would say about...
So still full-time. Is it in your industry, it's better than VAs or
well, it's like
contractors?
they're like freelancers, but like basically working full-time. But no, I don't have any employees. Actually never had any employees. I'm lying. I had one employee, a Canadian employee, but that was just too expensive. In terms of like, employment insurance, the social and the deductions, the taxes, the sick pay. So that was just too expensive. So then like very quickly I decided that I'm going to like hire like VAs abroad. Like obviously in the Philippines, we have people from Morocco. We have people from Armenia. So we have people from different countries working in different time zones.
But when you say full-time, they are dedicated actually basically to your to your business.
They're just working with us. Yeah, they're full-time. Well, I call them freelancers because they're subcontractors. They're not my employees, but they are working exclusively for Trademark Angel. So they're not working for anyone else. But if they wanted, they could. I mean, it's...
And how do you build know-how? Do you have any internal meetings? Do you still producing various documents regarding the field? Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in meetings. I think it's a waste of time, especially like, monthly. I used to work in a huge law firm in Canada. So every Monday we had a Monday meeting, which was like a huge waste of my time. I hated them. And so I decided I'm not going to do any meetings. Well, maybe we do like once every 6 months, but still I see that it's just costing me money. It's not very efficient. So instead of those meetings, we just, we have manuals, we just write notes in Skype, because those meetings are not very productive. I hold meetings like one-on-one if I need to like get the point across, but but those like meetings like the office meetings, they're not very useful. Well, that's just my belief.
How do you organize your day?
Yeah, I know it's a good question because my goal is to work less. So I realized that, okay, the goal is, okay, I can't earn all the money. I don't need all the money in the world. I mean, there is just like a certain model that I like. I mean, I'm comfortable where we are. I think that if we grow further, it will be detrimental, and I will have to hire somebody like me to do, like, for example, the phone calls with the clients. I do them all. I check every email that goes out, but I can only do so much. So I decided that my goal is to work not more than 30 hours a week. And to do that, I actually started tracking my time with HubStuff. That's what my employees use. So I track my time. I start working like at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I turn the timer on, and I see how much I actually work. So I always thought that I actually work less. But it's surprising that you just spend a lot of time doing things that are like not actually, like, you think it's not working, but it is. So yeah, I try to time myself, and I have a cutoff. If it's like 30 hours, that's it. I have to stop. So I try to push myself. So I do like more important things first, and obviously some things get delayed. But I try to be more productive. Because when I began, I was working, I don't know, maybe close to 80 hours a week. Yeah. So I was like, like, you can burn out. You can continue like this.
And how did you succeed in making all of it in, okay, it was experience through years, I suppose, and how do you cope with competition? Is it still stressful for you, but you found out ways like meditation?
Well, yes, you know how it is with nurses, how when they just begin working, they're really like upset, or a patient died. They're like really upset, they talk about this, and they distance themselves. So yes, I mean, I try to do the same. I know it's work. I know that some clients will be upset. There are always upset clients. I mean, we don't have a lot, but yes, sometimes clients are upset. So I try to distance myself, that you can't please everyone. And I think one of the important things is to learn to delegate. So you find qualified people. I mean, I had hunted like for some of our staff. They worked in other law firms, and they're like, I mean, I have some paralegals who have about 20 years of experience. So I hire like expensive people, but I know I can delegate certain tasks. So while I'm still checking every email, I know that at least I don't have to explain how to do things. So when you delegate, you can kind of clone yourself a little bit, and you can relax. And yes, I know that mistakes still happen, but I can also make mistakes. You just learn to, take it easy and, distance yourself. You can't please everyone. And of course, we try to please every client, but it's, it doesn't always work. But yeah, we always try to, satisfy our clients' needs if we want to have a happy client at the end. So if the client is not happy, we always want to make him happy.
If I understood you well, you will distance yourself on an emotional level, but you will still be focused on making job done and be persistent in doing so. Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so we'll still try to like make him happy, but at least I won't lose sleep, because before I would, and I could, this person is not happy, or like, what, or like, I mean, he's saying that he wants money back, he doesn't want to work with us. Now that I don't take it personally, I know that some people they're always grumpy and they're not happy no matter what. So I also learned that sometimes you have to say no to a potential client, or say no to an existing client when you, for example, don't want any new projects from a certain client. You just have to say no. You can't take on this project. Yeah, because when I just started, we took everyone, obviously. And I mean, our prices were quite low, so the clients who paid least were always the ones who were most dissatisfied or wanted more and more. So I wanted to mention that when I first started, and actually even now, I try to get clients from multiple sources. So not just from like advertising. Actually, we don't do any paid advertising, but like referrals, obviously. I don't know, somebody mentions us on Facebook, We even did like a cold email campaign, even though I didn't believe in it. And I had a profile on Upwork and Fiverr. So I'm still on Fiverr, even though I put my prices like up, so they're comparable to our website. But some time ago, I had a client who bought like a really tiny gig on Fiverr. And of course, then I got her email and we started relationship like by email, and we started working together. Like she started working with Trademark Angel, and then she gave us more trademarks. So then it turned out to be a huge portfolio, and it started with $100 gig. It was like a really small job. So because no matter how small the client may seem to you, you know, just don't think that that client cannot pay. So to me, that was the huge surprise. Now I think we filed about 20 or 25 trademarks, and she just takes the best package, the most expensive package all the time, doesn't ask for any discounts. And that person, you know, she came to me on Fiverr. I actually had a lot of clients who I found on Fiverr who are actually excellent clients. And actually, I like Fiverr myself. I always find, professionals on Fiverr as well if I need something for the website or some artwork. So yeah, you cannot just, ignore multiple sources of income for your business. And I think that's what made like a difference as well, because when we first started, I had like an affiliation with a company that worked with Amazon sellers. And then some of my clients promoted me on Facebook. They mentioned our name. And then we have this program when you get 10% discount. So you refer somebody and that person gets 10% and the person who referred get 10%. So essentially I'm paying 20% in total. But that's how like word of mouth and referrals, that's how like I grew the business. And I think it pretty much it applies to any business. Like if you're not greedy, you reward your clients, you will get referrals. I mean, obviously, if you do good work. Otherwise, if you don't, no one will come to you. But I think that's what's important, to have multiple sources of income and to not just assume if you found somebody on Fiverr or if somebody paid you little that person doesn't have money. So you still have to treat them the same way. We treat all our clients the same way. We don't say, oh, this client paid little, let's just do bad work for them. So we don't actually look at that. So every client is treated the same way, because you never know. I mean, some clients are just, they test you. So as soon as you do a good job, they send you more work. If you want to find us, it's really easy. Go to trademarkangel.com. And we have a free trademark search, so you can fill a form and we can check if your trademark name is registrable. And we can get on a free phone call. There is no obligation to buy. Basically, you'll see if you like me, if we can work together. I think it's really important to connect, because you have to enjoy working with a particular person. You have to enjoy working with a particular company. So for that, you have to test. You have to see like what they're capable of. That's why we do the free trademark search. You have to see like how they talk to you, how they treat you, if they can answer like the questions. I'm not greedy, like when it comes to time. Yes, I allocate 20 minutes, but sometimes it takes an hour, and sometimes we end up talking about something completely different. I had a client and she's actually breeding goats. So we ended up talking about goats, and I really enjoyed it, and I learned something new. And then we had a connection. And she also had cats, and I have cats. So we ended up, working together because we had a connection. But, if you're into NFTs, I like that too. So if the topic interests me, we'll connect. But obviously, if it doesn't interest me, you'll feel that, or maybe not. I don't know what doesn't interest me. I think I'm pretty curious.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskorik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.